If you're a liberal, and I don't mean the really crazy girls are boys and boys are girls, like Trump the range type psycho liberal. I mean regular liberal, like a classic secular liberal, if whatever you call it nowadays, if that even still exists, I don't know. But if that's you, what would you say if I told you that the only way your way of life, the only way your way of thinking can continue is if conservatives actually take control of the government? It is probably the only way to actually stop the left from going too far. And anyone that's paying any sort of attention, whether you agree with them or not, everyone knows that the left will always, always go too far.
Honestly, Canada, I'm not saying any of this because I enjoy it. I don't, because I've always enjoyed you. But I need to cite you as a cautionary tale to help my country. And the moral of that tale is, yes, you can move too far left. And when you do, you wind up pushing the people in the middle to the right. At its worst, Canada is what American voters think happens when there's no one putting a check on extreme wokeness. They say in politics, liberals are the gas pedal and conservatives are the brakes. And I'm generally with the gas pedal, but not if we're driving off a cliff. On the trans issue, America is no ands, ifs, or buts about it, absolutely alone in the world now, an outlier country. Last month, England's National Health Service announced that there's not enough evidence to support the safety or clinical effectiveness of puberty blockers for third graders, and that they were going to stop fumbling around with children's privates, because that's Prince Andrew's job. The far left, which always like to use, well, Europe does it. Yeah, no, that doesn't work on this one anymore. Or on immigration. Sweden opened its borders to over 1.5 million immigrants since 2010, and now 20% of its citizens are foreign-born, and its education system is tanking, and it has Europe's highest rate of gangland killings. And one result is that the far-right parties are in the government now there for the first time. To which liberals say blaming immigrants for the rising crime rate is racist. Yeah, but is it true? Of course it's true. It's not a coincidence the quality of life went down after the Somali gangs started a drug turf war using hand grenades. Calling it racist doesn't solve the problem. It hands future elections to someone who will solve the problem and who, I promise, you're not going to like.
When there's no one putting a check on extreme wokeness, Bill says. And, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Once you get there, man, it's over. If nobody checks it, it will get there. And once it gets there, it's all over. And calling something racist, calling it whatever isterism you want, does not magically make it a non-issue. But here's what I think he's saying. I think he's saying the left needs to wise up. They need to at least pretend to be willing to come back to the middle, or they're not going to like the outcome. Essentially, he's saying that they need to fix their own radical insanity, or Donald Trump or some other Trumpian type figure will fix it for him. And he's not the only one wising up. I mean, even lifelong devoted, famous progressive atheists are sounding the alarm about what will happen if and when our culture is finally pushed too far.
Well, I must say I was slightly horrified to hear that Ramadan is being promoted instead. I do think that we are culturally a Christian country. I call myself a cultural Christian. I'm not a believer. But there's a distinction between being a believing Christian and being a cultural Christian. And so, I love hymns and Christmas carols, and I sort of feel at home in the Christian ethos. I feel that we are a Christian country in that sense. It's true that statistically the number of people who actually believe in Christianity is going down, and I'm happy with that. But I would not be happy if, for example, we lost all our cathedrals and our beautiful parish churches. So I count myself a cultural Christian. I think it wouldn't matter if we substituted any alternative religion. That would be truly dreadful.